Hey guys, my name is Stee, S-T-E-E. A lot of my friends have been asking for story advice, and so I figured a good title for this would be How to Make Your Student Film Not Suck. So let's talk about it. Student films suck for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons being that the student may have never made a film before, but sometimes even experienced students, have sucky films. So why do these films suck in the first place? Well, see, film students really like their movie to look like the Hollywood deal, right? But simply looking like a film doesn't make it a good film, right? When you have the mechanics of a movie, like cinematography, lighting, sound, that stuff all kind of combines to make a visual sense of the story that amplifies the script. But if you have a bad script, then none of the visual amplification matters whatsoever. So, to make your student film not suck, you have to communicate your idea pretty good within the script itself. So, how do you do this? Well, number one, you create a story with intention. There must be a point to your story. If you're going to tell the story, there must be a point to it. Like, for example, The Matrix. The point to The Matrix was that Neo would wake up as the one, right? He goes from being nobody to being a hero. That's the whole point. And of course, if there is no point to your story, then there's no point in telling the story. So make sure you have a point. Number two, have intentional theme. If you really want your film to shine, think of a message that you want to communicate through your story. This isn't necessary. You can tell stories for just entertainment. But if you want your story to mean more than something that's just for entertainment, then that's a good way to put theme into your story. For example, Disney's Frozen wasn't only about Elsa running away from home and Anna going to get her back. It was about true love, and it was about letting go of your fears. Number three, have rounded characters. The audience only cares about your movie if they can relate to what's happening, and the best way to make the audience relate to something is if you have human characters. And what I mean by human is by making their mind like human-esque. They must be full characters. If you took them out of the story and put them into the real world, they would exist as a real person. They have to have their own feelings, their favorite foods, their own desires, inner conflict. They have to have anything that makes them feel like a real person, even if they're not actually human. Number four, have a motivated plot. This is probably the most important thing, and the thing that I see lacking in a lot of student films. Every action that a character does in a movie needs to be motivated by their character. For example, if you have a character who has like a young and naive mind, they'll probably be more trusting than other people. So the actions should convey that. If you have a character who grew up like very protected, then they probably won't act too unpredictable. If your characters seem like real people, then it shouldn't be too hard for them to do actions that are personally motivated. And notice I said personal, right? They have to do actions for personal reasons. It's far too easy to write a character action that has nothing to do with the character themselves. For example, if a character is going to cry over someone else's death, why are they crying? Did they know this person well? Do they cry often? Are they crying a lot or a little? Character motivation can be written in the script, but directing it is where you can really make the character shine. So make sure you know your characters before you make the movie. Number five, balance of clarity. One thing you have to do when writing your story is to make sure the audience knows what the crap is going on. However, you shouldn't be too explicit as to spoon feed your audience. A mistake that I see in a lot of beginning filmmakers is they end up doing random expository dumps. Like if a character is talking to another character and what they're saying has no real motivation, it's clear that the character is talking straight to the audience. It's like those commercials where a guy is talking to his friends and he's like, "Hey, have you heard about the new toothpaste that has new whitening and tartar control?" See, so this is why motivation is so important. If your character is not motivated, then they feel forced and the story feels fake. Just as an example, if you had information that you had to display, like if you had to make sure the audience knew that these two characters were brother and sister, you have to bring that information up naturally. So just off the top of my head, maybe the brother, visits the sister often, and when he comes into her house, maybe her kids go up to him and yell uncle or something like that. That's not a very good one, but, think of how you can naturally bring up information rather than force feed it. Now that's only a little progress, what we went over, but there's a lot more to say about this, and there's also a lot more about communicating your idea overall through story, but we'll save that for a little bit later. In the meantime, remember that intent is so important when you're coming up with your story. So make sure you know what your story is before you lather it up in movie magic. My name is Steve, and this is Storybrick. Hey, if you liked this episode and you want to see more, consider supporting me on Patreon. If you didn't like this episode and you don't want to see more, then email me at I didn't like your video, Steve, and I don't want to see anymore at thisisnotmyrealemail.com and tell me everything I did wrong in a huge amount of detail. Thank you.